introduce Mike Martinez. He's a second-year Jesuit scholastic studying social philosophy and digital storytelling, and he hails from the great state of Florida. His presentation this evening is entitled Prophetic Beauty, the Power of Hip-Hop. Mike has been interested in and performing hip-hop since high school, and we're so thrilled to have him share with us his story today.
How's everybody doing tonight? Good, I like the energy in the room. So, this is going to be a more formal presentation, which you usually don't see me giving formal presentations. You usually see me doing more informal stuff. Thank you. Should be on. There we go. Prophetic Beauty, the power of faith and hip-hop. Beauty is meant to be disturbing. Beauty can be disturbing. Art, that's one of the powers that art has. It has the power to conjure up questions, doubts, answers. It can force us to have the conversations that no one wants to have. And so tonight at this forum, I'd invite you into this space of sitting with prophetic beauty. Now, what do I mean by prophetic beauty? Prophetic beauty, this is a kind of a term that I kind of coined to talk about hip-hop. Prophetic beauty is speaking disturbing truths in beautiful forms, or vice versa, speaking beautiful truth in disturbing forms. Did you catch that? Yes. I know somebody did. So we are going to bridge the gap between faith and hip-hop, two areas of life that are often segregated. I want to use the framework of a Jesuit by the name of Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. And he has this quote that I think is phenomenal for unpacking what we're going to do here today. And he says, by virtue of creation, and still more the incarnation, nothing here is profane for those who know how to see. Nothing here is profane for those who know how to see. And tonight, I am going to invite you to watch, I'm not going to play it yet. I'm going to invite you to watch a video. We're going to do a little case study of this video that just came out last Thursday. How many of you have seen it already? Okay. 34 million other people have already seen this video. Every hour that I check, 1 million more viewers are added to the YouTube list of viewers that have seen this. So if we don't have a conversation about the video, then we're kind of out of the loop. Now, I will say this. In order to have and to watch this video, maybe in a new way, in a way that maybe we haven't before, I invite you to take these 3 steps. 1, we put on our Christian or Ignatian or whatever faith tradition spirituality cap you want. Put it on. We are going to contemplatively watch this video. And as the Jesuit Walter Burkhardt says, take a long, loving look at the real. And then we'll engage each other in fruitful dialogue, right? That's the part of the forum. Oh, one quick thing. There is explicit material in this video, explicit language. Again, some of the language might be extremely offensive. You might feel really uncomfortable. So if that's the case and you feel that you are not ready to watch this, I invite you to step out for 3 minutes and then come back in. Or stay here and be a witness to disturbing beauty. Again, you might be aware of what you're feeling right now. these GIFs, which we've seen all over Facebook, this video exploded because you have such a divisive opinion about this video, right? Twitter exploded saying that this was going to be a beef. This is a beef with Big Sean, right? Some people exploded saying, this is Kendrick Lamar portraying himself as Jesus, just like all these other egotistical maniac rappers are doing. They think themselves God. Women, a lot of feminists, were upset with this video. And rightly so. And so there's been this whole debate about this video. Again, 34 million people have already seen this video. And yet, when I saw the video, again, coming from my perspective, I saw something different. Yes, I saw all the things that I probably felt the same emotions that all those commentators felt, but there was something different. I want you to notice some of the imagery, and the imagery is very striking, right? Like some of the visuals. Artistically, it's a awesome imagery. You have Kendrick in an ocean of bald heads, right? He's the only one with hair, and he's the only one facing the camera at that moment. Notice how he sticks out, and this video is about humility. He's wearing white in this kind of almost dystopic Pentecost moment, no? Head on fire. Notice this. And then he's the only one in white, dressed, and while everyone else is dressed in black at this, what appears to be some kind of funeral. Humble is the name of this video. And humble has been erroneously described and defined for too long as shut up. Be humble. You are beneath me. Be meek. In the silent sense. Do not speak up. Be humble. For too long, humility has been used against people to silence. And I think Kendrick might, as a Christian himself, might be inviting us to have a conversation around this. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But I think Kendrick might be inviting us to something here. Jesus, the most humble and meek of them all, also flipped tables, also disturbed people, right? So that's why I love this meme. If anyone ever asks you what would Jesus do, remind them that flipping over tables and chasing people with a whip is within the realm of possibilities. This is another type of humility. And MCs, the art of MCing, it's not about necessarily even what the rapper is saying, but what the rapper is pointing to after the song. In fact, if we are afraid to watch this video and to have a conversation around it, then we are doing a disservice to our society and to our responsibility, especially within the Catholic intellectual tradition, to engage culture. I'm going to conclude with this. I use this imagery of prophetic beauty as a fire, okay? And I think MCs who spit fire lyrics, right? We can use this imagery. And I'd like to read you a passage from an article that's actually going to be published tomorrow. I did a piece on this, and I hope all of you read it tomorrow in the Jesuit Post. It'll be published, kind of go more in depth. But it says, real MCs ignite the fire for conversation beyond the music. It is our role to learn from the conversations and accompany people in learning from the brilliant light this fire can shed on society's concerns. Thus, if we are quick to judge the fire ignited, that the rapper ignited, rather than addressing what the fire's light has revealed about society, then we will surely be burned by the rapper's prophetic fire. For in the end, it was never about the fire to begin with, but what the fire was pointing us to. And that is where our discussion begins. Thank you. Questions? And I hope there are a lot of questions. Please.
You want me to just shout it? I can just shout. Hi there.
Hi.
My name's Grayson.
Grayson.
And as I was watching the video, I was sort of thinking about community versus privacy, and the idea of like provocative art is something that is an expression of something true within ourselves that we don't usually reveal. And it made me think of an Eminem lyric from back in the day where he said, "I say what all of you think, I just have the balls to say it." And I guess I was just wondering what were your thoughts on the idea of making the private, or something that is generally held within yourself, communal, and like the act of shining light on that private part and making it, like what's the function of making that expressed and communal?
Thanks. You know, Eminem is one of these very provocative artists, right? And Kendrick himself, if you listen to his early work and even his current work, his early mixtapes, since his first album, he's been discussing almost like these internal demons, right? And you see some of the videos and he's like yelling and he's angry. And there's these angels and demons within that he's making very public. No? Questions about God and his relationship with God and his relationship in society and what his role in society is. And I think what happens when we really make ourselves vulnerable enough to share some of those most intimate demons and angels is that we put at the forefront that those same questions are not just happening within this individual, but in all of our lives. Then we can engage in a conversation around it. But somebody has to be courageously humble enough to not care about what people are going to say, and say it and speak, even when your mic gets turned off. Right? Thank you.
Any other questions?
So we actually used the quote that you cited at the beginning of class for Christian marriage. We were talking about original sin and how, like, Adam and Eve during original sin, the only time that they saw themselves and their nakedness as unbeautiful was after, quote unquote, like the fall. But if they had been able to see the beauty the way God sees it, so the kind of thing where if you're able to see, then nothing profane is actually profane. So I'm wondering if like you could comment on maybe if Kendrick Lamar is trying to address original sin in some ways, or if you see through hip hop any way that they're addressing this kind of like your raw nakedness, the way God sees you through rap and hip hop.
I don't know if he's addressing original sin directly. I don't know how read he is in Augustine, or but I do know that hip hop addresses raw reality. And to be a contemplative, in the definition of taking a long, loving look at the real, is not to live and abound in fantasy, but to see reality. And that is what disturbs us at times. When it's not sugar-coated, and it's not censored, and it's not pretty, then we shy away, I think, from really being able to be contemplatives and to see reality. Yeah. And that's a grace. I think it's a grace to be authentic. It's a grace to be vulnerable. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, right? I think a lot of, at least I know in my life, I am made courageous enough to speak because Jesus spoke already before me. And he already got the whippings. He already got the abuse. And I am going to somehow participate in that. But I don't know. I just feel like hip hop is meant to be an authentic look at reality, even if it's not in the most sugar-coated way. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Questions?
So I saw your piece earlier on your video, the prophetic beauty of hip hop, and what I wanted to ask you more was that section where you said if we listen carefully, like this kind of music, liberating music, is actually the cries of people for help. It's a secret cry for help from the marginalized. So I was thinking, yeah, you're right. It is a beautiful way to speak reality. Like people who are marginalized want to say something. But when they do it through hip hop, they beautify it, they make it popular for people to listen to. But I wanted to ask, how can we prepare ourselves to see it as a cry for help and expression of despair?
It's a good question. And you were referencing something that I mentioned in the video, right? Which was that when we really are able to listen to hip hop, we'll hear the cries of marginalized peoples, right? And I don't know if necessarily they're saying, white people, help us. That's not what they're saying, right? But they are saying, look at our reality. This is happening. And just because we're talking about it, and that we're not afraid to talk about it, even though people say, you shouldn't be talking about that. That's not proper. I think that does a disservice to what hip hop is. And it came up, I mean, I don't know how many of you know about the history and the origins of hip hop. It started in the Bronx. It started with migrants, Jamaicans, and an African American population that would get together at parks. They would take the electricity from the, what do you call these? The lamps, yeah, the street lamps, street lights, and they would hook up their DJ equipment. And they would mix instrumentals, right, from the instrumental portion of a song and then rap over it or MC over it. You know? They made music out of nothing. They couldn't afford to buy instruments. So that is what I think we need to learn to understand, that when we listen to hip hop, yes, we should be at times disturbed. And we shouldn't be afraid to engage in questions and conversations about our society today. I don't know if that answered your question. I don't think I have an answer for you fully about what can we do to prepare. I would say pray.
Give it up for Mike.
Thank you.